Hello and welcome to the Heroic Scale podcast. I'm Dale,
And I'm Robert.
and this is your miniature game news podcast. So let's get right into it. What have you been working on this week?
Mm. So last week we talked, and I finished my Juggernaut, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sitting through it throughout the week is just like I wasn't happy with it. It just doesn't like I feel like the red like looks good and stuff like that, but then it's like it's just too much red, and then it just with the flesh color, it just looked kind of weird. So I wasn't really liking it at
Like a
all.
giant fleshy penis.
Yeah, basically, like you rubbed one out 1,000 times, and so super red. Um, But I had a wood grain color. I think it's a Vallejo color. It's called wood grain, and I put that over his shirt and his pants. So like they're now kind of like brown, but they have like red undertones, which is kind of cool. And I definitely like it a lot better now. So I'm really happy with it now compared to last week where it was just like, it's done. But now I feel like it's pretty good. The only thing I kind of want to revisit is the helmet, but I don't know what to do.
You want to put it on
Um,
Colossus? That's what you want to do.
no, 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 no. Speaking of, I might want to buy Colossus individually on eBay. I was thinking about it, just like to save some money because it's a $40 box. I think it might be
Mm,
40, and I think I can get him for 20 by himself on eBay. Just because I don't really care about Magic, and there's no
Magic's
tokens with
pretty
them.
dope though. I might go in half with you to get Magic because she might play
I
well.
mean,
She plays with the Doctor Strange faction, right?
I think she does, and she's a Midnight Sun as well.
Yeah, so that might be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, if you want to do that, definitely because I literally just want Colossus out of
But
that
like
pack
her
because it's not
abilities,
that
like
good.
summoning swords, is dope.
Yeah, Colossus isn't that good. I took a look at his card today, and I just want him just because he's like one of my favorite Marvel
Right,
characters.
right.
So yeah, that was my thought. But then today, I decided, you know what? I really hate painting. I
Oh,
just, I really hate it. So from now on, I'm a contrast paint boy. I took my black primed Hulkbuster and Iron Man out today, and I primed them white over the black,
yep.
like I did my
Zenithal,
Tyranid.
Zenithal primer.
No, it was called white primer.
No. It's called Zenithal when you spray a lighter color over a darker color to get the shadows and
Excuse
the. Well, I'm
me.
just I'm just educating our listeners and you, like, apparently.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I did that, and then I smothered the whole thing in the red, the contrast paint that I had, just to get the majority of the work done. Like it's
Mhm.
like in the red, like that red compared to
The
the red I
cover is so good.
put on the Juggernaut, it looks so much better.
Yeah.
Like it's like it looks so good. So it did most of the work for me, and then I just went in there and painted up the black on the chest on the torso like I wanted. Did put all the yellow on for the not the yellow, but the bronze on for the other parts, and put in the blues for the thrusters and the repulsor arrays and everything like that. And I just think it just looks so much better. And it's like it saves so much time, and it's like yeah, I like to just have them built so I can play with them. But like realistically, I'm probably not going to play with them if they're not painted.
Well, and honestly,
Um,
like, I think, like, real. I'm not painting, primering my models just black anymore. It's always black with a white zenithal over the top of
yeah,
it
I'm not
now.
doing it
Like,
anymore either.
it's contrast paint is too good to not leverage.
Yeah, obviously, unless it's like you're painting War Machine, right? Like,
Yeah.
or when I get the Nick Fury, I'm just gonna paint it black. You know what I mean?
Well, because I know,
Maybe
but
not because it's white.
we'll get into it. But like, I'm painting my orcs now, but the majority of their armor is black, but I am still primering them with the zenithal white. Like,
Yeah,
it's because the
I just feel
contrast
like
paint, being able to use the contrast paints is so much easier
yeah, but like I'm
than
saying, like
not having to.
With Iron Man with a War Machine in particular, it was just plain in black, dry brush the thing, and then
Yeah.
put some silver on it. It's not that big of a deal.
Now you just need to switch your
Um,
flesh tones over to contrast, because I'm telling you, man, the
oh, I will because I'm
Gilliman's
not painting.
Gilliman's flesh for white people, and then the other one for darker skin is, I have it right here. It's called, Dark Oath flesh, and those are
Yeah,
the only
because
two colors that you need.
I did not like the color for the my flesh on Juggernaut. Like I think that's one of the parts that could be improved. So maybe I'll just throw it on top of what I have on it now and just see
No,
how it
I
dries.
wouldn't, because if your paint's on there too now and it looks cakey a little bit,
It
which
doesn't look it doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look
oh, from the
cakey.
picture it kind of did, but
No, no,
maybe
no, it's not.
yeah, it's just not getting any like. Well, I mean, you could Requiem Flesh shade it, right? You did that, right?
Yeah, I did that.
Then it's not going to give you much more extra because it's already kind of ruined at that point.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I did. I did my Hulkbuster today. Painting the Juggernaut up.
Are you going to
And I
the
think
miniature store this weekend at all?
I don't think so. There's nothing new that came out. I think Nick Fury comes out next month. So I'm definitely gonna be picking him up when he comes out because I made my 10-man team today
Oh, cool.
for for my new list and
Did
stuff
you
like
do it in
that. So
Battle
that's
Scribe?
no, I didn't. I just did it. I just had the card. I brought the cards out and did it
Oh,
because I had to put the Hulkbuster card
yeah,
or
it's
the
better
Juggernaut
too because
card
then you get to
in.
look at it and be like, okay, what can I synergize
Yeah,
it?
obviously I don't know what's like updated or anything like that. So I think
Oh
the only
yeah.
affiliation I could run is Avengers. But I put on who did I put on? I put Sam Wilson, Cap. I put on War Machine, Ghost Rider, Juggernaut, Hulkbuster, Green Goblin, Ultron, Winter Soldier because he could flex in any
Hmm.
group. He could be part of any affiliation. Black Widow for the 2 point cost, and then
Rocket Raccoon's my 2 point cost always.
huh?
Rocket Raccoon's my 2 point cost
Oh
always.
yeah, I don't have him. And then I'm sitting the 10th spots is reserved for Nick Fury right now, but I think right now I have it as Hawkeye just because.
Mhm. Mm-mm-mm. If
And
you
then I
could
made sure I
go
and
ahead.
then I made sure I put both my 20-point missions inside just because I have two
Yeah,
bigger point cost characters in there.
yeah.
So made sure I did that
I
as
haven't
well.
really made my list out yet. I have like an idea of what I want. Like, of course, Captain America's in there. Steve Rogers, of course, Thor is in there. And then I have Punisher and Rocket, and then those are like my for sure's, and then everyone else is kind of up in the air. Um, but I was
Yeah,
gonna
that's
say,
what I felt like too.
if you were going to the store, look for that Mister Freeze for me because
I looked last time and didn't see
I
it.
want
So
that Mister Freeze so bad. So, what I've been working on is, like I already said a little bit. The great repainting has been begun. I'm tired of my old look of the orcs, and they lost their debut at LVO, so maybe they need a shiny new paint scheme to go with them. So I switched up the paint scheme. I reprimed everything and got a whole bunch of paint dust in my lungs. So that was fun, and a bunch of paint dust all over the patio. So I had to
mm,
sweep all that off. That was fun. Um, but yeah, so I've begun repainting that. I've only painted 1.5 models so far, so it's not going great. It's not going at a fast speed. But I've repainted my War Boss, Mega Boss, and then I've repainted the Maw Crusher, but not the Gordrak on it yet. But it's cool because I like the lighter skin orc colors, like the really neon-y type colors, and I think that Plague Bearer flesh is a really good color for orc skin. Because
yeah.
I like them lighter. I like them more like sickly, like lighter green, and then dark armor. I'm using black armor instead of the snowy kind of theme that I was doing before. Um, Also, little gripe, they changed the base size on the Mega Boss, so I had to carefully cut my Mega Boss off his old base to put him on a new base. And that was annoying. And I had to 3D print the base because I didn't have any of those bases around. And
Yeah,
that
but at
was
least you could do that.
well, that was weird too though because then I was putting that texture paint over the top of it, and it didn't really get rid of the lines, so I had to like cake it on there. But it looks really good that it's caked on there
Yeah, when
now.
you kick it on, it looks better. So
Yeah,
like that's better.
yeah, I think it looks cool. He turned out really nice. And then yeah, I just have to keep working through that. And I think, did I paint anything else this week? Um, no, it's mostly just primaring, just heavy primer. Um,
Nice.
and then yeah, just started painting and filming some videos for the channel, which is of course the orcs. But because interestingly, the orcs aren't really on my channel. Like the first model I paint on the channel was an orc, but that was it. And it was like the old way of filming it and
Yeah.
everything like that. And there was no other models in there. So I mean, there'll be some new stuff in there. I'm not gonna show all of it because I think it'd be boring to be like,
Yeah, for sure.
here's me painting a big guy again.
Unless you like just like time lapse it.
Right. So I think, and you know, I've been throwing around the idea of like doing a Twitch stream where I just like batch paint a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Like that might be cool. Like some of these people, like you guys join up, and like we can talk about what we're painting and all that stuff. But you know, we'll see. I'm not really set up for that yet, though.
A hobby hangout, as it were.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then games. I don't think we talked about our
Oh,
game.
but I wasn't done.
Oh. Excuse me. Excuse me. What happened? Sorry.
I am on a ledge, Dale.
You're on a ledge.
I am
Do you want me to talk
looking
you off, or
down.
dare you to jump?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I really, because this is miniature games related, I really want a tactics. I really want it. It looks so fun. And
So for you
I,
people in the audience listening, a
yeah,
tactics
let me describe it here real quick. Okay. So a tactics is Hasbro's answer to Wizards of the Coast HeroClix. And what it is they got all the licensing, Marvel, Star Wars, and Transformers, and they made these oversized figures that are ginormous, and they all either shoot a missile really far, by the way, or they do some sort of like melee attack with a spring. Like, so it's like you twist their body and then they hit the other figure.
Kung
So
Fu
what you're supposed
action.
yeah, exactly. So what you're supposed to do is build a team up of a certain amount of points. Each character has their own points value, and then what they do is they click when you move them, and it like starts changing their dial like on the bottom. So when they get knocked over by your opponent shooting at them or whatever, on the bottom there'll be a certain color, and if it's a certain color it might activate certain effects, or it just might kill the figure altogether. So it's basically a dexterity game where you're just like, instead of like measuring and like saying, oh, I'm going to shoot you with my laser cannon, like you're actually like getting down there, aiming with your eyeballs and shooting that missile at a figure to try to knock it over. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it is a cool idea. I mean, after you sent me that video, I kind of want that whole clone army.
He does it every Monday, dude. Every Monday.
What shout him out? What's the?
I don't remember. I
Oh,
subscribed, but
my.
it's on TikTok. Hold on, give me a
You
second.
gotta find it. You can't just leave it. But I kind of want that whole clone army. It's pretty cool because I do like that it is a miniature game, but then it's still skill based in this fact where you have to shoot the little darts off the guys to try to hit the other guys and knock them over, or like position your guy in a spot where you can't hit him with the kung fu action.
Yeah, so his name is at op.nate on TikTok. Check him out. And he does a Tactics Mondays. But yeah, it's really cool. And like I was thinking about it, because like if you look on, because like apparently there's a huge community for this game. It was never discontinued. It came out in 2005. And they printed until like 2008, 2011, and still recently, I could still see booster packs, at least for the Transformers one, at Target and stuff like that. So they're still around, and they've never been they're not discontinued. They're still going on. It's just like they don't really come out with releases all the time. But they have Marvel, they have Star Wars, they have Transformers. But and what I was realizing today is like, because all these figures on eBay, like you could buy lots and stuff like that. Some of them don't have the missiles, but all the missiles are interchangeable. So it doesn't really matter. So as long as you get one figure with a missile, like you could just keep swapping out that missile or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's not that big of a deal that they're not complete. So I'm on a ledge. And I think next month, when my budget resets, I might pick up a few, more than a few. Maybe a trash bag. Who knows?
I'm interested in the clones. Like I'm kind of like,
yeah, I'm gonna buy everything. So like, don't even worry about it. Like if you want to buy specific ones, go for it. But like, I'm gonna buy some so you can just come over and play. And like, there's no like terrain for it, so we'll just set up like bottles and shit like that, because like the guy on his TikTok account just like puts up like
but Robert,
manga books. Robert, I know we have stuff. I know.
The future, and we have 3D printers. We can make.
Well, terrain. I have plenty of terrain.
Well, I have plenty. Naboo. I have a whole Naboo set for.
Yeah, and I have a Tatooine
set. Smaller, but
exactly, but it'll work. But I think it's really cool, and I think we could have a lot of fun with it, especially since it's like kind of like no frills, just a funny, relaxed, kind of chill game. And it's quick, so
yeah, it's
that's
definitely interesting.
Yeah, the guy, I think this week he fought Star Wars characters against Transformers, and it's kind of not compatible if you think about it that way, because they're a little heavier and it's harder to get them knocked down. So you might have to get close to them and like shoot them point blank kind of situation. But then again, the Star Wars figures have the what's the walker, the ATRT, the
Mhm.
baby one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have that, and they have like a gun Republic gunship and stuff too. So who
Imagine
knows?
imagine a tactics, but like the art style is of the Disney what was that game called? That I'm
Uh,
looking at the figures right now.
Infinity,
Yeah, the
Infinity.
Infinity art, but a
Yeah,
tactics rules.
that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty dope.
I mean, they're cool figures. Like, I think they're cool figures in the first place. They're a little exaggerated in spots, but they're
Right,
cool. And I think
right.
that the fact that they do something is really cool too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a McDonald's toy, but you get to play with it, and it's way more
And
dangerous.
dude, those springs and
Yeah,
those like they're shooting all the way across the table. I think they're playing on like a 6 foot table, but they're playing like long end to long end.
yeah,
Um, and they're nailing each other.
yeah. Okay, cool. So I think so. We were on the topic of games. Or wait, are you done? I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Okay, but so I don't think we played any games this week, so we can just skip past that.
Yep, we're
Um,
horrible people.
we're not horrible. It's just it's the Backstreet Boys comeback tour is happening, and we can't get out all
That's
the time to play.
yeah, we're just busy.
Like every week. I mean, come on, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not young anymore. I have a job.
What?
Okay, so let's get into the Games Workshop news. So we're starting off this week heavy into 40K. A lot of stuff for Eldar because I think they are out now. Question mark? I think they're out now. But so starting off this week, they showed some Horus Heresy era stuff, which is that compatible in just regular 40K? Like if you want to play 40K, can you use a Horus Heresy army, or would you just use that as Space Marine,
No.
or would you just
So
use
it's
it as Space Marines?
no, so it's a Warhammer 30K army.
Yeah.
And it's separate. Some of the custody stuff does kind of come over in Forge World applications,
Mm.
but for the most part, no. You can't use any of the you can't use any of the named characters. You can't use any of the stuff,
Yeah.
any of that stuff.
It would just be
So,
like a counts as army at that point.
but even not really
Right.
because
So they showed some cool
they're weird.
they showed some cool models. There's like Fafnir Ran, who's the Imperial Fist like leader guy. He's pretty cool. He has two
Yep.
power axes and a
Yep.
shield on his back. Like, did you see that model?
No, but I read the book, so
Like
I know who you're talking
that
about.
model looks really cool. And then there's a Dominion Zephon. He's like another guy. He has a power sword and a jump pack. He's like a Blood Angels or something type guy. He has a different. He has a helmet head and a non-helmeted head. I think for those. And he didn't look as cool as the other guy, just because it seemed just like a generic jump pack with a power sword. And I was like, can't you just build that out of the regular jump pack set? But it is what it is. And then now we're getting to some Eldar stuff. They showed the stats for the Eldar Guardians, which are their basic infantry guys. Um, they are
Sorry,
move
Avengers forever.
they are move 7, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, and what's 1d7? Oh, leadership 7. My bad. I'm stupid on my notes. It's
You're
leadership
dumb.
7 and a saving throw of 4. And then they have like the new Shuriken catapults that they have, like because they can put the little weapon teams
Mhm.
in their guys. Their range 18, assault 2, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1, and they have this Shuriken ability, which gives wounds of 6 plus 2 AP. So like that we talked about that Shuriken rule like I think a couple weeks ago when we were talking about like the aspect warriors and stuff like that. But yeah, that plus 2 AP is pretty brutal on a 6. Um, there's also a new Serpent Shield option for the weapons platform, and if you have that, that gives all the models in that unit a 5-up invuln save, and makes enemies that roll a 1 or 2 to hit you always miss. So even if you only need a 2 to hit them, you still need to roll a 3.
Yeah,
Um, and if they're in range of an objective, they get to re-roll hits of 1 in range and melee. And
that's
then
cool.
they showed a stratagem for them that adds 1 to hit rolls for guardian units. So there's a lot of like versatility in there. There's a lot of like I don't like I saw this thing. This guy, he's kind of negative about Games Workshop and stuff, but he said like it's like flavor of the month
Who,
stuff. But
me?
no, no, it's just kind of like he said, is this like flavor of the month where they're just making something super strong so that people buy into it? Um,
No, I feel like when you're in a world where everyone has two wounds,
Right. Well, and
like
also talking about like what we've been talking about is that most people are playing Imperials, and maybe this is their ploy to get people to stop playing Imperials, is make everyone else
yeah. So
better.
you have two wounds primary space marines, you have two wound orcs.
Yeah.
Now you have custodies who are just beast. Period.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think you're gonna have to because like it's the power creep right of games we talk about. We used to talk about this all the time with Marvel Crisis Protocol of like how do you deal with the creeping power and you want to make new rules that make everything more powerful, but so they're doing that and they need to keep up every single time, which kind of puts the other books at disadvantages who haven't been updated. But as we talked about last week, it seems like things are going to start getting updated a little faster this year.
Yeah.
So it's like I just feel like in a world where we're dealing with everything, a lot of things having two wounds or things having lots of armor,
Mm-hmm.
that we need the strength, we need the special rules, we need the special ways of keeping our one wound characters alive.
Right. And like again, like I said, this is a good way to get people to stop moving to start moving off of Imperials and Space Marines. Like give them incentive, and these are pretty good incentives. I feel for your basic units to have an invuln save, like that's pretty dope.
Yeah,
Like obviously you have to pay for it in your points and everything like that, but I mean it just seems like there's a lot of special stuff because I think their guns even have that Shuriken rule on it too.
I believe they do. They should at
Yeah, the
least.
Dire Avengers ones do because I think they're Shuriken catapults, but I don't know if these ones are, if their basic guns are. But anyway, moving on from that, let me see. They showed off some aspect warrior
Oh,
rules. There's an armor. Uh, all the aspect warriors I think have armor that give their users a 5-up invuln save. Here you go. Dire Avengers Shuriken catapults. Their range 18, assault 3, strength 4, AP 2, damage 1. They also have that Shuriken rule, so that means that they would be if you got a 6, you'd be AP 4, which that's nothing to sneeze at. That's taking
are you sure
down.
it's not AB3? It's just increasing it by
No,
one, or is it
increases it by
increasing it?
2. Increases it by 2.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm like, so I'm saying like that's pretty good. Like a 4
Yeah, that's good.
AP,
That's
that's
that's straight
really
to the
good.
only invuln on the knight, or straight to the invuln on the Terminator.
Right, and Space Marines now instead of having a 3-up save are down.
They're
They're
dead.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't
they're
get the
taking the
save.
wound. Yeah.
Yeah, the Fire Dragons, their fusion gun is range 12, assault 1, strength 9, AP
This
4.
is the one thing I don't really like about the Eldar, right? It's like everything seems to be really close range for kind of a shooting army. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's range 12,
And they're
assault.
squishy.
Yeah, assault 1, strength 9, AP 4, damage D6 plus 2,
Oh, that's nice.
and they get to reroll wounds of 1 against vehicles and monsters.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you get to get close, but, like, you get that.
Kind of like the old
And,
fusion
and
rule where you
especially
get two
with,
d
like,
six.
well, and especially with their webway rules and stuff like that, I think, like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And the
Yeah.
invuln saves and all this stuff that's protecting all these people, I think you have a pretty good chance of getting close. Uh, the warp spiders, I love those models. I love those models so
Yeah.
much. The death spinner, like their little guns, is now assault D6 instead of 2. It was just 2, assault 2. Now it's assault D6. It's AP 2, and it has the blast ability. So that's pretty cool.
So
Your warp spiders,
in groups you're getting 6 shots then, which
right,
is good.
right. So that's really cool. I like that they're getting a little buff. I like those models. I don't, and it's funny because I don't really see people play Eldar. I mean, I don't really like when we were at LVO, I walked around and looked at the 40k stuff, but I didn't really see any Eldar. But like
Yeah,
to
when
me,
you
like
when
for me to get into Eldar, it is these aspect warriors that I like the most. I like the dragons. I love the reapers. I like the death spinners. Like the warp spiders. Like
yeah, when you're talking about Eldar players, like usually at tournaments, at least you're mostly going to see Dark Eldar and the Drukhari and stuff like that. So you're going to see basically airplanes. That's all you're going to see. You're not going
or
to
you're seeing
see
Harlequins, which are the fucking sail
with other
barges.
jet bikes. The Harlequins are jet bikes as well.
Sail
But
barges.
it's
Jabba the
but
Hutt
it's
sail barge.
but yeah, it's like so you're never really seeing these infantry
Yeah.
models. So or like even the walkers, which were cool too. It's
Yeah,
like
the
you're not really
Guardians.
seeing that
Yeah.
stuff. So I mean, hopefully this brings that out.
Yeah. The Howling Banshees were also showed off.
Nice.
Their masks make it so that units can't fire Overwatch uh, against them, or they can't set to defend, which I forget what that
Not
is.
not really a problem anymore. I mean,
It is
it's
with
just
like
because
the
you're
new
the
tower rules, right, where you get to shoot Overwatch on a 5 now or
nope, that
something.
doesn't exist anymore.
I don't remember. anyway.
No, that was that was last book, not this
Oh,
book.
okay. I'm getting all my books confused.
Yeah, so it's as far as I'm aware, like when I was looking at the book, I didn't see an Overwatch like a free. I didn't see free Overwatch.
Well, there's probably like a stratagem in there though that lets you get a bonus,
But
and we didn't
everyone
narrow that.
gets because everyone could always use the Overwatch stratagem. Everyone
Right, but I'm
has
saying
that.
like a different one, you know.
Yeah,
So also their masks make it so that the enemy is not eligible to fight until all of their units in their army have fought.
that's good.
So it's like, haha, you can't go with them yet. If the unit charged in the same turn it attacks, they get to add 1 to their wounds.
Great,
And it can advance and charge. Uh,
great.
wait,
As it should.
it can advance and charge, and hits against the banshees are -1. So like when you're targeting them,
Great,
you're at -1 to hit.
perfect.
So
That sounds just like a banshee should be.
yeah. They showed the webway gates. I don't know. I don't know if this is a GW model or if this is a Forge World model. Maybe the old one's Forge World or something. Um, Let me just do a quick little cursory search here, really quick, to see if it's actually available in their range or not. It's gonna be Xeno's army. It's gonna be Drukhari, and it would be not Drukhari. It's Eldari. Jesus, I hate these stupid names. Um, help, help, help. Xenos.
Craft
Craft
worlds.
worlds. Jesus. That's one thing too that I wish, just kind of clean that up. Just clean that up a little bit. I'm not. Oh yeah, they do have Webway. Okay, it is $48. Um, but the Webway is is a terrain piece that you can use for them. It provides. Okay, it's weird. It provides light cover, heavy cover, and unstable poison. And
Interesting.
so to enemies though, I don't think it doesn't apply to the Eldar. And inspiring for Eldar. So what's the light cover and heavy cover thing?
Light covers +1, heavy covers
No,
+2
but why does it do
to your
both?
armor save
But why does it?
because it's stackable.
Oh, it does stack. Okay, okay.
Or it's either stackable or some things are only eligible for light cover, like walkers, for
Oh,
instances.
that makes more sense.
The crisis suits used to not be eligible for any cover, but now they are eligible for light cover.
Okay. Um, you can set up units from reserve anywhere within 6 inches of it. Even in engagement range of enemy units, like it doesn't matter as long as it's within 6 inches of the webway. It doesn't matter. If you do get into engagement range with a unit that you set up, that unit then counts as having charged that turn, and they can't be overwatched, uh, and they can target any enemy that they're in melee with without declaring the charge. So if I happen to be within 2 units, I can attack both those units without having to declare it, and they can't overwatch me. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. The Webway Traveler's Rule lets units set up in reserve count as half of the command points usually required in strategic reserve. This is the same thing that general that we talked about last week. He gets to make everyone inside any specific unit count as half the points that they would normally count as what you're allowed to put
Yes.
in
Yes.
the
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
So
yes.
so this is the same kind of thing, but as just a rule for the gate. But
Mhm.
I think these cost points to put into your army.
I'm
Um,
not sure.
I think they do because I know the Tau battle line did, and that little like
Oh yeah, the rip tide wall or something like
right.
that.
And I think this is the same kind of thing.
And I know the orcs have a mech factory or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then there's the preview. There's a preview of the. I don't know how to say this. Yakarn. I don't know. It's the avatar of the Yanari, which are like the Harlequins and stuff like that. Uh, so her weapon has 2 different attacks to choose from. One is Strength 4, AP 4, damage D3+3, and ignores invulnerable saves. Uh,
Kill the knights.
well, I don't know with Strength 4, AP 4. I don't know.
Strength, but AP4,
Yeah,
you're already getting through its armor save, and then killing its invulnerable save means it gets no save. So the hits you do get
yeah.
are going to be good.
The other attack is Strength of the user, AP 4, damage 1, and gets 2 attacks for every one it does, just like how the Avatar had like that one. And I think the
Yeah,
Knights have that same thing too with their Stomp, is that every one attack counts as 2 instead.
yeah, because you
Um,
can only have a certain amount.
right. It also has a range attack of its range 6, Assault D6, Strength 7, AP 2, damage 1. The attack auto hits though and the it attacks every eligible unit within range of the model. So
So it's like a souped up flamer smart gun
I don't know, it's
thing.
like a scream or something, but
That's
like
cool.
it also has
Hey, I'm for it.
yeah, it also has psyker abilities. One that puts mortal wounds on each enemy unit within 9 inches, and then one that gives a 4-up invuln save to a friendly unit. So if you want to buff up your little elf boys, is how you do it. That's pretty good. And that was it for 40K. Do you have any comments on that stuff? I think the Eldar stuff is looking pretty
No,
cool.
pretty much speaks for itself.
Yeah, like it's making the Eldar seem more interesting. I think, like we were saying, like Tyranids are still the one that I would maybe want to play, but then Necrons are close second for me. So
Yeah, Necrons are cool.
yeah. Uh, so then we're going on to Age of Sigmar. There's not a whole lot here. There was a preview of some new Eden Death rules, and I think if you're a fan, you saw this. If your army belongs to the Nautilar Enclave, you'll be able to field Achillean Leviathans as battle line units. So you'll be able to bring your big ass turtles as battle line if you choose this enclave as your like faction. Um, that's pretty cool.
Good. I'm a huge fan of all mounted armies. Like my Seraphon army is pretty much all mounted at this point.
One, especially at
Um,
3.0 with these monster rules.
so much benefit to bringing them. You might as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then if you also in this using this allegiance ability, you get a special monstrous rampage ability, which instead of the one that's in the core rulebook that you get to use on your monstrous rampage ability thing, and it gives the rend of the jaws of the turtles -3 rend until the end of the next combat phase.
Nice.
So like that's like a long lasting buff. Like you get to the next combat phase, you get -3 AP on your turtle. That's pretty dope. um, and that was it for like news. For Age of Sigmar, like so, there's some tournament stats that came out that I thought were pretty interesting. And I don't know, we can talk about that a little bit. Like, Order is the most selected faction at 41.9%, followed by Destruction at 22.6, Chaos at 19.2, and Death at 16.3. What do you think about
Yes,
that? Like,
that's the draw of like the Stormcast, right? It's like you have a huge
do you
army.
think it's all Stormcast, or do you think it's other
No, I
cities?
think it's honestly, I think it's Cities of Sigmar, and I think it's Stormcast because with Cities of Sigmar, you get all the old people who used to play.
And they're
They
so
can
strong
convert
too.
their armies.
Cities of Sigmar are so
Yeah,
strong
they
right
can
now.
convert their armies and use that stuff. I don't think it's Cadre, and I don't think it's a lot of Seraphon, although I do think there is a good chunk of it.
Yeah.
I would say it would be Stormcast, Cities of Sigmar, Seraphon. I would think would be the top three in order. And then the draw of orcs is the call for destruction. I don't think it's Gargants. I don't think it's ogres. I don't think it's any of that. I think it's orcs. Everyone likes orcs and goblins.
What do you think
Like
about
so,
Death
it's,
being so low?
I think it needs help. I don't like death as all at all. It's a faction. I think it's hurting. I think the armies that exist don't know what they want to be. They're not themed how the other armies are. Like so, you have the flesh eater courts or whatever, and then you have a whole nother faction that also uses vampires in it. It's
Yeah.
like I just don't feel like like the only one in there that seems like it knows what it wants to do is Night Haunt, and they're ghosts.
Yeah.
Like so, that's really cool, and I think that's really cool and thematic. But everything else in that pool just sucks.
Yeah, and then
Like it does.
chaos is really low too, right? And that even with
Yeah,
the 4 chaos factions all being there, four? Yes. Wait, Korn, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and what's the other one?
Skaven.
Oh no. Nurgle faction. I mean factions of chaos though.
Factions of Chaos. Skaven is Chaos.
No. I'm talking like the gods. There's
Nurgle.
Nurgle, Korn,
Zenich.
Zneech. That's what I wanted to forget. Jesus, the bird.
Slanesh.
Slanesh and Zneech.
Yeah.
Zneech. But yeah, like Skaven are in there. Beasts of Chaos are in there, and that's it. Oh, and so
Chaos.
and then what's it called? The
Corns need slash
guys that
slaves.
you play, Slaves of Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Slaves Dark is obviously the coolest looking one.
So on that topic of like things like that, the most selected faction, of course, is Stormcast at
Mm-hmm.
14.1%. 14% of all players play Stormcast.
Yep.
So that's pretty big. And then what do you think second is? You said Cities of Sigmar?
In order, I think it's Cities of Sigmar.
No, so it's actually Soulblight Gravelords. That's the new faction of death that you said are just vampires also. Um, which I think
No,
they
Soulblight Gravelords like skeletons, aren't they?
no, it's
Oh
the
no,
new
they're
yeah.
yes, 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 yes.
Well, they have skeletons and death
Yeah,
rattle skeletons or
I
whatever.
was thinking of Osiris Bone Reapers.
Yeah. Ossiarch, yeah. So they're the second most used army, which is interesting because I mean I do definitely see that this newer army is kind of the direction that people want vampires to go, but I just don't see the amount of models there to really warrant going into it. You know?
Yeah, same with like at this point, what is it, Iden Death, or Osiris or Osiarch Bone Reapers.
Yeah.
Like they're
Well, and that's
like
weird too
they're
because that's a new army too, and that's like
exactly, it's brand new and it doesn't have that much.
right.
I'm looking at around 22 options available, and most of that's the book options. One,
It's
two,
probably
three,
like
four.
starter sets too, though. You can't really count the starter set.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 models, and some of those kits might be duplicates of themselves because like you
Yeah.
can make the same thing out of the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely. And then so now that that's not your second, do you think now third is gonna be Cities of Sigmar?
it's probably some chaos faction.
It's Iron Jaws,
Okay.
and that's at 6.9%. So you can see that it went from 14% to 8% to 6.9%. Like they're dropping off hard, right? Like
Yeah, which means each other faction is probably not even played more than 5%. You can just name 3 faction.
so. What do
There's
you think the
one,
worst one is? So you think the least played one is?
hold on, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There's 24 factions total. You named 3. So that means there's 21 factions left.
Well, it's not
And
even that though because it's also sub factions. So if you think
true.
Iron Jaws, right? That's also Big Wa.
Oh, the probably
And
next strongest
and
army is the Lumineth World
well, so I
Lords.
don't I kind of cut it. I just left it at the top three for now, and then
Okay.
but what do you think the least played army is? And this one surprised me and
Mm,
it bummed me out a little bit. So maybe that'll help you figure it out.
it's Fire Slayers then,
No, it's Big
or it's
Wa.
cut.
It's
Okay.
Big Wa at 0.5%.
It's not cool having an army that doesn't look themed together.
Well, it
It's not.
sucks. Here's my thing. They took away all the allies for well, I don't know. The only thing the Iron Jaws can ally with are Gloomspite gets. You can't put any of these new orcs in there. You can't put any of the savage orcs in there. They're not allies. So I thought that was really
Dumb.
weird.
It's dumb.
Yeah, and it's like what then because then it's
Orcs is orcs.
right because then it's making you play the Big Wa, which is that's what my new army is going to be. My new orc army is going to be Big Wa because that's the only way I can get the archers that I need in my army, the bolt boys. And now I'm kind of thinking like, should I not do that? Um,
Just because people play it doesn't mean it's not fun.
right.
Like,
Well, and we'll get into some other stats later that kind of made me change my mind. But it does let you making switching to Big Wall from Iron Jaws is big though, because then now I'm losing the
yes.
sub factions, and now I'm losing smashing and bashing, which if you don't know, it's
Mm-hmm.
not you, but like that if they don't know, it's if you kill a unit in melee, another one of your units gets to go right away. So that kind of sucks. um, so now we're talking win rates for armies. Uh, these are all win rates that are above 60%, so that's way higher than you'd like them to see, right? Ideally, you'd want them around 50 something, right?
Yeah.
So Cities of Sigmar is at 70% win rate.
Ew.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
right? That's pretty bad. Big
That
Wall,
that basically just means there's a huge rules imbalance, right?
right?
Like
Well,
it means there's a disparity between them versus older codexes. It's not necessarily them versus the new Stormcast. It's just like that, like because you could argue since there's 24 armies that, and then a bunch of sub factions in between, that 75 win rate percent win rate is against everything that's not new, that hasn't had a codex come out since 2020.
right, and you got to think too, like this is luck of the draw too, right? Maybe you're put
Of
against
course.
someone else, and then, but then see, then it's also requires like data analysts, right? Because Big Wall is the second most at 68%, but we already talked about there are only 0.5% of players are Big Wall. So
Yeah, and remember, it's like
if there's three people playing Big Wall, then and two
yeah,
of them win, then that's pretty big, right?
yeah. That's
So
already a 66%
Yeah,
win
so
rate.
that made me like kind of rethink it that okay, maybe Big Wall is doing okay when it plays, but it's just because people
Uh-huh.
aren't used to playing it. But yeah, there's
Yeah.
only like if there's not that many, then of course these numbers are going to be skewed based on that.
Yeah.
That's how statistics work. uh, Idoneth are at 64%. Sons of Bahamut are at 60.
I just don't. It's a knight army and Age of Sigmar. It doesn't belong.
I
Like,
think
well,
it does, but not as dumb giants.
but like the problem with it is like you deal with one of them basically as my Dread Sauron.
Not
You know
even,
what I
not
mean?
even that Dread
But
Sauron would destroy. We talked about this Dread Sauron. It's
no,
way
I
better
know.
than
But
the
I
giants.
wonder how the Dread Sauron would do against these giants because without any range in your army, you can't whittle them down until you're in melee. And there's so much penalties to fighting them in melee. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
I don't like it. I think it's honestly I think it's cool. I do think it's cool, but I don't like it as an opponent of them. Like it's fun to just go and smash people and only have 4 models, but I don't think it's fun.
yeah. I've only played with them once,
It was
and
horrible. I hated it.
yeah, but like I don't see a way. I didn't see them being like super competitive in like objective based games.
But then they changed it. Like
Right.
they became objective secured or whatever. But if you
Well,
wipe me
they
on
do
turn
count. They
two,
do count as a certain amount of models on
and
objectives.
if you kill me in 2 turns, you could gather the points for the rest of the 3 rounds.
Right. So those were the big high performers. I mean, Sons of Baymat wasn't at 60. It was at 59.6, but I just rounded it up. So that just kind of gives you an idea that it was pretty high. So now we can get into the low performers. Siege is at 31%.
It's a demon army. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not good.
Beast of
I don't like it.
Chaos, 32%.
And again, I think that's because it's one of those armies that doesn't know what it wants to be, kind of thing yet. It's like it could be so many things. You could have dragon ogres. You could have um, satyrs. You could have what are the bulgors?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's like there's 3 different things you could do with it. And I just feel like it's one of those things where it just doesn't know what it wants to be.
yeah. And then Corn and Scaventide are at 36%. Scaventide, if you know, is all of the factions combined, like Big Wall, kind of for Skaven.
Yeah. So it's not that great because then you lose all the things that make Skaven, right?
Well, like the plague bearers hurt the other ones if they're not
Yeah, you're
have that
blowing,
keyword.
you're blowing yourself up.
Right, right. So I mean, I think Corn though surprised me because I thought Corn was a lot stronger than
I
that.
do too.
Especially if you watch
That is,
rerolling ones and that the Masterful Jack always murdering those people with Corn.
yeah.
So maybe it's just people, and also remember it's luck of the draw. Like if those guys are always going against like
Well, and
what's the hype like the cities of Sigmar, right?
yeah,
It's not going to be a great matchup. So
yeah, but then also it's like if there's 1,000 of them,
well, there's
let's
not
use
though
the
because
results.
we've already figured out that the least played armies were
Destruction.
Chaos was Chaos was 19.2% of the field.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that could still be 1,000 people.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I'm just saying it could still be a lot.
So that's this tournament stats. I'd like to see them buffed. I'd like to see everyone closer to like 55% or like 50%, 52.
I feel like if everyone gets a new codex, it would be achievable for everyone to at least get to 40 something percent.
Yeah. So then some interesting news for some of you people that are rock hard for the old world. Uh, there was some news today that I thought was pretty interesting. Personally, I'm not interested in the old world at all. I don't want rank and file fighting. If I want that, I'll play Game of Thrones. I think they do. I
A
mean,
Song of Ice and
Song of
Fire.
Ice and Fire. I'm sorry. I feel like they do it really good. I don't think we need to bring square bases back and all that stuff. But they talked about a new faction, which is the Grand Cathay, the Empire in the East, which is the art they showed is very Asian inspired. They said that they're ruled by a race of immortal shape shifting dragons. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm interested to see a more Asian theme army come to um, this game system, and I think that's a really good way to start getting into that market too, right? Like,
And you know for a fact that if it comes out for this old world game, it'll come out for Sigmar as well.
Yeah, and I
Like
think
there's no way it's not going to be a dual release. Like put this base on it if you want this, put this base on it if you want that.
right, and I think they were talking about too, though, that this is also going to be in the what's it called, the Warhammer 3 game, the video
Total War
game.
Warhammer.
Yeah, Total Warhammer 3. So they were really talking about it for that context, but also bringing it to the game, and then there's going to be more articles coming for it.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
not going to hold my breath because they haven't showed a lot of old world stuff. They basically said
They said
we're coming out with old world. It's going to have square bases, and that was it. Like,
didn't they say like 2025 or something like that?
I have
They
no
projected
idea.
it. I think they projected it for a very long time away, like 2024 or 2025. I think was
Right.
the date initially. So
Well,
it's like
yeah.
it's a long time away.
And then this whole thing that we're in right now, that skewed everything, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I'm interested. I'm interested to see an Asian faction, what they look like, what they do. I hope it's not just like plain like dragons and plain like samurai or like kung fu warriors. Like,
Dude, if it's an army of samurai, that'd be freaking dope.
but like if you look at the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, their armor looks kind of samurai themed.
Okay, but these would be people and not skeletons.
Yeah. But I want to see something. I want to see what fantasy looks like for Asia. Like what like the Eastern fantasy, which we can say that this is, right? Warhammer is like the Eastern centric.
Shan Yu, Mongols, Great Wall.
Well, but yeah, they also in their lore they talk a lot about like the walls and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what high fantasy looks like for Asia. Like what the European version of high fantasy looks like for Asia, because I think that can bring a lot of cool things, and like mixing of the two things together might make some really cool models. But yeah, like you said, I think if they bring it to one, they're probably going to bring it to the other one, because I don't see them reprinting a bunch of Bretonnia stuff. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're getting Bretonnia ever again. But if we did, then it would be for both.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was interesting. That just happened today, Friday. So they showed some of the event miniatures off. So if you go to the events, like the upcoming Adepticon, which is on the 23rd to 27th of March in Illinois. But there is a Primaris Company champion, and that is just like a sword wielding Space Marine guy. This is like he's in like a weird like kind of stabbing pose. And then there's more Mugruk Dawacha, and he's a Swamp Caller Shaman, like alternate model, that you'll be able to buy at any event with Warhammer stuff throughout 2022. I think they had them at LVO also.
Yeah, just get there early because scalpers.
I think they have limits usually. Like I've never run into.
No, they didn't. They didn't at LVO this year. So a lot of people are complaining about it.
Oh, interesting. Because as I say, I never run into problems like that with it.
Yeah,
miniatures.
It was an issue.
So then that takes us to the rumor engine of this week, and it was weird. It was a demonic looking head on a tentacle, or like a snake. Like it was like the head of a snake, but it was just like a thing with its tongue out. I was thinking Slanesh or Daughters of Cain, because like Daughters of Cain's coming out soon, like some more
Medusas.
Stuff. But now that we're talking about this Grand Cathay faction for the old world stuff, maybe it is something kind of Asian inspired for them. But the head did look pretty demonic to be like.
Yeah, I doubt it. Without a release date.
I know Asians don't mess with demons.
Because without a yokai, without a release date, I think it would be kind of harsh to rumor something like that at this point. Like there's no, I would say no.
Right. Yeah. So it was weird. It was a weird one. It definitely felt either chaos related or maybe Daughters of Cain. So that's my news. That's what I got for this week. Hello?
Huh? What?
I said that's what I have for this week. What are you doing? What's up?
Oh. So loses light on my end. I think news is light. I feel like Atomic Mass and Fantasy Flight and all that stuff kind of got ahead of itself last year and promised a lot of things that didn't end up getting released when it was supposed to and stuff like that. So now they're kind of on the like repair end and just being light with all their news because they don't want to overpromise. Right. So what we got this week was from Atomic Mass Games for Crisis Protocol. There's no new news, but they did have a post today on their Facebook that said, "When the world needs a shield, these heroes are ready to answer the call. Begin building your Marvel Crisis Protocol team at your local game store or online here." And they gave a link, but it showed a picture. So it's like this is potentially what is available in the Shield faction or part of the Shield faction.
Yeah.
And that's Nick Fury, War Machine, Taskmaster, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Iron Man, Winter Soldier, and She-Hulk. So those are all. So what it seems like are going to be okay in the Shield faction, and a lot of these make sense. I don't know about She-Hulk particularly, but all these other ones make sense. Taskmaster trained all these people. Bucky is Bucky. Like it all just kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that looks pretty cool to me. But Nick Fury's ability didn't look that good, so who knows if you'd want to even run it.
Compared to
honestly.
Daredevil.
Well, yeah, compared to Daredevil and compared to, you could probably run all these characters in Avengers, you know? But Taskmaster is really cool. So being on a hero faction is pretty cool.
Yeah.
For me, to me at least. So that's all they had for Atomic Mass. Fantasy Flight released yesterday.
Wait. Have you seen some of the promo images though? There's
Promo images.
So there's some interesting promo images of like the X-Men in a group picture, and there's like the Quinjets.
Yeah.
Not the Quinjet, sorry.
Yeah, that's available.
It is?
Yeah, it's on their shop. It's not available, but like it is going to be ready to order. The Quinjet will be
and what about
a thing.
And what about the Damaged Sentinel terrain set? Is that
that's gonna. Yeah, that's.
Have we talked about that at all? Because like I saw some of
no,
that
because it's been shown a long time ago. It was before we started the podcast.
Because it's interesting because I saw that and I was like, that Sentinel looks small. If those are the pieces for it.
Yeah, if you look at if you go on Atomic,
but...
if you look on Atomic Mass Games website on their upcoming releases, the Quinjet is on there. On their carousel at the bottom. Not that there's no Sentinel kit listed, but that is it's like a gas station with a broken down Sentinel. Like that's a thing.
Like with it's parts spread across like several pieces. Yeah.
Correct. And then so that's it for Atomic Mass. And then Fantasy Flight announced yesterday that Ironheart will be coming out for Marvel Champions, the card game. So
what's her face?
That's Iron Man. No. It's a girl Iron Man.
Right. The new girl, right? What's her name?
I don't know her name.
I forget her name. Oh, you see the Quinjet on there. I see what you're talking about. You saw the Quinjet, but not the X-Men, the X-Jet. Whatever. What's it called? Is it called the X-Jet? What? I'm so stupid. What is it called? The SR-25. What is that thing called?
It's a Blackbird. I don't know. Her name's Riri Williams. Yeah, and then they're adding the Nova as well. That was already announced though. To that game.
X-Men Jet. The Blackbird? No, that's not a Blackbird. No, don't even say that. It's not what it is. Is it Blackbird? It is the Blackbird. Okay, well, that's interesting because I thought it was called something like the X-Jet or something.
It might be the X-Jet. Let me look at this picture real quick.
Blackbird.
I think that's the Quinjet. I think that's just a Quinjet.
Yeah, the picture on the website is just a Quinjet, but there is a Blackbird.
Yeah, I think it's actually a Quinjet.
I don't know.
If you look at it real close, like look at the window, it's the same.
I don't know, man. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
But yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. But it's like, again, it's going to be an expensive ass terrain piece. It's like it doesn't really do anything for you. So it's like that's just where I get, unless it's like faction terrain. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's literally it.
Lets you able to redeploy X-Men anywhere on the table.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do you have? So there's no questions from the audience. Again, you guys are really lacking. For the 6 people that we have listening to this podcast, for you to not comment on here, maybe we should start at the top of the podcast and say, "Hey guys, comment and leave us a question for the end of the show because we'd like to answer them." But do you have any questions for this week that you'd like to ask me or pose to the audience?
I don't. I got nothing.
What? So lame.
What you got then?
I didn't have one because I had a lot of news this week.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, no. So definitely, I'm interested in the tactics thing. I am interested in Mr. Freeze for the Batman miniature game because that Mr. Freeze looks so cool. And yeah. So
yeah, I'm honestly like really excited about a tactics. I don't think I've been this excited about something new in a long time. So I think, and it's not new.
All the joy in your life is gone.
Yeah, all of it, every single bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, and hopefully now that all this Eldar stuff is kind of out of the way, the next thing for 40K, which we know is going to be Tyranids, right? Because that's what they hinted at
Mhm.
before. And then we should start getting into the nitty gritty of the Fire Slayers update and the Iden Death update. Then we'll get into Night Haunt updates and Daughters of Cain. So this is a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipe. Just right now we're just kind of holding our breath and waiting for it to be cool. All right, well, if that's it, then we'll talk to you guys next time. And thanks for joining us.
Make sure you smash that like,
Yeah,
subscribe, and
yeah, yeah.
bell,
All the YouTube
and leave a
stuff.
damn comment.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Please leave us a question. Ask us anything. I don't care what you ask us. And yeah, and we'll see you next Saturday. Thanks, everybody.